Hey, everybody, it's Rhonda with Climbing Culture Daily. And today I wanted to do a chit chat about nonprofit leadership in crisis and in what we see happening in community right now around the country and what you can do and think about as a nonprofit leader. One of the biggest things I would really urge is to not just jump in. I know some people like to move move quick, but if you really don't know what's going on, you can't just look at the news and now you can't just see TikTok and then run downtown or run over here and just jump in it, especially if you're doing it from an organizational standpoint. And like right now, I think, and I've done some videos on this around pivoting in crisis because we are going through a funding crisis across country for nonprofits. What do you need to do to rethink the work that you were doing, that you're doing? And so that's what that particular clip was about. But in crisis situations, it's really looking at your mission and how your mission works in tangent in resolving or helping or assisting with those crisis situations. It's not just jumping in without some thought. And we really truly do believe in community as medicine and how wellness at a communal level is really important and really vital. And so that's how I, as the nonprofit leader, always thinking about it from that perspective. It's not about me and my voice and my ego. I don't have to take the mic. I don't have to be in front. But I, being a part of the solution can look so many different ways. You know what I'm saying? So one way I just kind of remembered when Renika Boyd was killed. Was that in Chicago? Can't remember. Be that as it may. But we were also seeing, women, black women being killed by law enforcement, police. So another organization here, they had been doing these things when other shootings were happening, but of course they were mostly with men. This time they did a Say Her Name event downtown on the Circle. Indianapolis is called Circle City. And we have a circle downtown. And so we had it down there. I was a speaker. There was a poet. There was, folks. And I had been to the protests and the gatherings for Mike Brown and Trayvon and others, and there were thousands of people. For this event, there were probably 70 people there. Now, mind you, we went forth and we did what we needed to do. It was advertised well. The organizers didn't do anything differently than they've done before. That's who came out. And so some of the women who were there, of course, we were disappointed. We felt like our voice and who we are and our deaths, and violence against us is never seen, never heard, and never uplifted, in the same manner. And so myself and a wonderful poet here in Indianapolis, January, York, we got together and said, hey, let's put something together. Let's do something at this particular park that's in a very urban community. Let's invite women out. Let's just invite. Come out, say her name. We're going to do this very impromptu, really. I think we did do like a Facebook event page, but that was it. It wasn't anything blasted truly out. And we had double the amount of women that came out. We had women that were driving by the park that came out. I stopped by a grocery store on my way to the park and bought a bunch of daisies. I think I went to like Kroger or something like that. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get all these daisies. Whitney, stop. She keeps trying to be a part of my video. Um, and so I took the flowers and I passed them out to the women, and they put them in their hair. And I actually got this guy from Kokomo, Indiana, who did gong therapy. And this is pre-COVID. This is really not a time where you see a lot of sound therapy happening and all that. And I was just kind of getting into it. And I was like, oh, that would be really great also to introduce these women into this new kind of therapeutic way of addressing some, some traumas and things like that. And, so it was really interesting because you had this big old gong in this very city park. We're hitting the gong, and the powerful part of it was the women. It was so beautiful because everything was just so intuitive and so impromptu. And, January did poetry, and I kind of talked about things from a community level. And we urge women to just say what your voice wanted to say. What did just in the women and their stories and what did they needed from the group just happened and it happened and it happened. And we tried to stay as long as we could, but it started getting dark and it was kind of a park where you gotta leave. But that's the thing that you do. It was not outside of our organization. It was not outside of our mission. It was something that we knew we can do to be a part of the healing for the community. And so, right now, I think all of us are in such a confused state because there's so much happening so fast. You don't know where you put your eyes at. And that is what is also important. We're a healthcare organization. We're not a immigration organization per se, right? So where I as a leader need to look at where my eyes need to be. Where do I need to keep my eyes set on? We're really involved with reproductive health. We're really involved with just healthcare and access to healthcare. And I want to keep my eyes on that situation. But also individually, me, Rhonda, can also then say, how can I get involved and not have to, not necessarily bring the organization into a certain space, but I can still show up in those different spaces. So I think sometimes we are especially those who are very community minded, feel rushed to act and rushed to get involved and all that, and not thinking about how you can effectively provide resources, provide assistance in a very quick way that's still mission on point with your mission. I'll give you one more. There's an organization that we partner with, and they have a grocery store that just opened their grocery store. It was a small grocery store, and COVID hit, and the ED instantly shut down the grocery store, packed up stuff, and got food to the community. Got rid of all the food. Pack it up. We got to get this food out. And in partnership, once they were able to restore some of the food back, what we did was we realized a lot of the food boxes that some organizations were given did not have enough protein. So we, because my organization is smaller than some of these organizations, said we will provide the protein for the boxes. So we partnered with organizations and like grocery stores and businesses, and make sure eggs, beans, and certain meats were a part of that. So it was a quick, what can we do? But it still had to make sense for the organization. It wasn't such mission shifts and funding shifts and things like that. It's on your toes and fitting the need of your community that you're serving. So I would look at what's happening. Is it, you do mutual aid? What do you do that you can provide support, care, and resources in the midst of all the things that we're seeing? And like I said, I know the biggest thing right now is what's happening with the immigration and deportation. And if you have the resources as an organization and as a leader, go right in. But I want you to also pay attention to what's happened if you're a health organization or wellness organization. what's happening with Medicaid, what's happening with reproductive health, housing. What are, because there's such shifts that are happening so fast, it is making your head spin a little bit, right? So it is really important and vital that you take a look at what is happening, what's your mission, and what resources you have, and get in there and make some stuff happen. Partner. Partner. I don't know how many times. Partner. You are not alone. Michael Jackson, thank you for that. You are not alone. You can't do this work alone. You shouldn't do the work alone. Find partners that you trust. Stop trying to be the lone wolf and get the shines. I hate to say that because that is some organizations do that. Organizations are like people. There's a Drake out there, and there's a Kendrick. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Believe me, it is. And so, who are you? And if you do not want to be a Drake, then you need to change, and you need to understand what partnership looks like, and make it authentic, and make sure that you know the you both share the same objective and goal to help community. But I just really wanted to pop on for that real quick because I know all the things that are happening out in community. And I think there's a lot of people who are still like thinking, well, I'm a doula. How do I help with immigration? You don't, that might not be your thing. You may not be able to do that in that form and in that space. But there may be other ways, right? There may be other ways. You just have to really kind of think it through and, figure out, because every sector, every area right now is going to need us out here doing something. And I want to urge people who are not a part of an organization or even a grassroots group, who just a neighbor on the corner, you too are part of the communal wellness. And if your neighbors are hungry, hungry children, somebody needs some clothes, somebody need a ride to the doctor. That's why you need to start knowing your neighbors. Know your neighbors. Ask them their names. What is your name? Okay, you got some kids. I just need to make sure that, okay, we good. We got to start getting back to that. That's my last little thing. Know your neighbor. Get with some. You got to go watch Mr. Rogers, Whitney. Okay, girl. This happens so much. I have no idea. My camera loves her, or she wants to be on camera with us. I don't know. We're going to have a conversation. Anyway, with that said, I hope this helped at some point. But this is just my chit chat on community, community as medicine and what we can do. And, like, share, subscribe, and all the things. And let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And if you have any great ideas, because I would love to share, some innovative things that people are doing in their communities to kind of help in different sectors and areas of community. So with that said, until the next time. Bye, Whitney.